let's take a look at the transfer window winners and losers. We've made our selections. Let's start with Alexis. We'll start with your winner. Who do you got this transfer window? Who you
My
think
winner
did
is
well?
very simple, and the rich are getting richer, folks. Manchester City are my winners. You got Semenyo, who everybody wanted. This was top of the list.
I don't mean to cut you off, but remember, if you go back to a couple old
I was about to give you credit.
Cooligans
when
episodes.
You saw him live, you said he's one of the best players you've ever seen.
Yes,
and Pep heard that.
The Premier League Summer Series at MetLife, Bournemouth against Everton, and after that game, the first thing I said was like, Antoine Semenyo might be one of the greatest players I've ever seen live. And I was just like, we don't get to see Premier League players every week in and week out. This dude is an absolute baller. And he did it at the beginning of the season for Bournemouth. Yep. And obviously a great move for him to go to City. I'm sure he gets a bump in pay as well.
Absolutely. And look, you can see it here, £64 million. For a player of this ilk is kind of a discount.
Sure.
And Semenyo is one of those players that if he would have been in another generation, you ever see the old clips of like Real Madrid players standing ovation for like Ronaldinho?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the type of player that if he played on your rival club, but he would tear you apart, and you'd have to be like, you know what? That's football.
Yeah, you got to give him credit.
That's the kind of player that Semenyo could be. So good for him. Also, probably the center back that is available that anyone who needs defensive help, Liverpool, really needed. And they went out and got Marc Guehi, which for $20 million.
I mean, it's a bargain.
I don't care how much was left on his contract. $20 million for Marc Guehi, one of the best center backs in the league. Just one of those guys who's like, 10 toes down, leader, stoic. Marc Guehi for 20. I mean, the fire sale at Crystal Palace continues. It's a real shame they couldn't get rid of Mateta because of a failed. They should have been my losers because of a failed medical. But for Marc Guehi to go for $20 million to one of the best teams in the league, a team that's done the quadruple or the treble before, is absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah. So okay. Well, my winner, I'm gonna go to La Liga and go with Atletico Madrid. They got Semenyo Lookman.
Mm-hmm.
They also got Obed Vargas, and this is the move right here. Okay, bringing
America.
Well, he's Mexican, but I understand what he means.
He's coming from Alaska,
coming from MLS, coming from Seattle Sounders. But Atletico, and credit to them. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen with like a Johnny Cardoso or whatever, but they are a club, a big enough club. And willing to, take I don't know if it's, I don't want to diminish MLS players or anything like that, or diminish the American player by saying like they're sort of taking a risk, but they seem to be fairly more open-minded than a lot of other La Liga clubs, in the sense of like, for a club that is constantly pushing for winning La Liga and also getting pretty far in Champions League. For Semenyo Lookman he was trying to get out of Atalanta for a while. Remember, he had
he was trying
the moment with the Gasperini, right? The coach, where he like shoved him or he pushed his arm off. I forgot when this was, but there was like he was getting subbed off and he like shrugged his arm off. He was like, "Why are you holding on to me?
Don't touch me, fam.
Don't touch me."
I don't know if that's his accent.
He was just Nigerian. That's what Nigerians sound like. But Atletico, I think, are in a good spot this January transfer window, because I think they're bringing in obviously good talent, but and I'm also just curious about if I would imagine Obed Vargas is going to be loaned, but if he isn't,
oh no, he's going to be loaned.
I would love to see. I would love to see him get some minutes this season out there. That'd be great.
Should have picked America, by the way. Let's talk about losers. My loser, very simply, is Liverpool.
Interesting. This is an interesting choice. Why are they your transfer window loser?
They wanted Semenyo as well, by the way. They didn't get him.
A lot of clubs did. Okay.
But they wanted Semenyo, and they spent how much money on Isak and Ekitike, and Isak is injured, barely could score, and Ekitike looks very good, looks the part. But their biggest problem is the backline. They've got 4 big injuries on the backline. So I don't know if you know this, their backline currently is Virgil van Dijk, Konate, and whoever the other 2 players that are last to training. You got to play on the backline. Okay. They could have went out and got Marc Guehi. They could have solidified their backline. They tried as tried can be, and Marc Guehi still chose, whether it was because the contract or Liverpool didn't really go after him.
Yeah.
But for $20 million, which, you spent a lot more on your front line, and that didn't even help you score more. The $25 million, you should have paid double for a player like Marc Guehi. You could have paid $50 million, and no one would have batted an eye at paying that for Marc Guehi.
We'll get to. It's an easy transition to my loser. My loser is Crystal Palace, and all of this is related to Liverpool, to Manchester City. The issues with Marc Guehi wanted to leave. Oliver Glasner, coach of Crystal Palace, was like, no, if he goes, I'm leaving. Oh,
and he is leaving.
And he is leaving anyway. And this transfer window has just been abysmal for Crystal Palace. I mean, where it seemed to have like rocked the club in its entirety. Obviously, selling Eberechi, which is like the money from that should have led to some exciting signings.
At the end of the window too, you're like, yo, get some fresh blood in there. You know?
And look, they also had the failed sale of the failed transfer of Nketiah. I heard that they were trying to sell him, and I think
that recently came out. Yeah, that they had signed the deal already.
Paperwork or something happened. Or I don't know why that fell through, but it's starting to feel like nobody really wants to stay at Crystal Palace. Mateta as well was supposed to leave. That didn't go through either. So. Some players, it just seems like they're trying to get out. Crystal Palace can't give them a strong reason to stay. I'm worried a little bit about.
They just won their first trophy. Forever.
But they won their trophy. But then they were supposed to play in Europa League, but they got bumped to Europa Conference League because of the dual multi-club ownership thing, Texter and all that stuff. It's like this is not only just a bad transfer window, the club seems to be on like some weird decline. I'm worried about Chris Richards, our starting center back for the U.S. men's national team.
Right. Still a great player, but hopefully he gets a move in the summer because it seems like this is a bit of a sinking ship.
Yeah.
And when the vibes should be so high, they are so low. And the same, I think, goes for Liverpool, where, a season after winning the title, you think they can make any decision they want. They need help on the back line, and they can't get the guy. You would assume that guy would choose to go to Liverpool, that they'd be in a better position instead of going to Manchester City, which always feels like there's so many players you have to really fight for your spot. So I think it's a huge loss.
I put this on, this terrible window and these last bad few months because Crystal Palace are kind of like, I don't think they're going to get relegated, but they're in that conversation more now, especially, from winning a trophy to the season that they're having now. I put a lot of the blame on Oliver Glasner. It's just like kind of ridiculous.
I would put it on the front office. Because Oli Glasner was promised a lot. He was promised that they would keep these players, get more players, and they didn't. So,
but they should have. If they let Guehi go, the money from that sale, they're probably in a much better position because now he would have been sold for so much more. It's like more embarrassing now to like lose them in the transfer window. And like they're lucky they got the money that they got for a player of that quality. So all right. So there it is. Let us know what you think of our transfer window winners and losers. And as always, shout out to everybody watching on OneFootball. Hit that subscribe button. We're collabing. We're collabing now with OneFootball. So hit the subscribe button if you want to subscribe to the Cooligans and catch our show as well. Peace, everybody.